Look at the water hitting this trough. The appeal of an off-grid solar pumping system is obvious. True water independence, powered entirely by the sun, with absolutely zero recurring fuel costs. But the process of getting that water out of the ground trips up almost everyone. The most common mistake is treating a solar pump like a household appliance, buying a pre-packaged, off-the-shelf kit online without first calculating the specific physics of your land. Guessing your hardware requirements guarantees one of two outcomes. You will either oversize the system and waste thousands of dollars on excess solar panels, or you will undersize it and end up with a completely dry well right in the middle of a July heatwave. This flowchart illustrates the reality of solar pumping. It requires a strict, sequential engineering loop. You start with the water requirement, move to the physical resistance, and only then select the hardware. We're going to walk through these exact 5 steps so you can design a mathematically sound, custom-built system from scratch. Replacing guesswork with upfront engineering rigor requires a little more effort today, but it is the only way to guarantee your system actually runs tomorrow. Step 1 is defining your exact daily water requirement in total gallons or liters per day. To do this, you must follow the peak summer rule. A reliable system has to be explicitly sized to handle your demand during the hottest, driest months of the year. Your annual average is completely irrelevant if your crops die in August. There is a direct trade-off here. Guaranteeing survival in peak summer means you have to purchase a larger, more expensive system that will sit heavily overcapacitated during the winter. You are paying for worst-case reliability. You need to aggregate the specific daily consumption of the humans, the livestock, and the agricultural irrigation on your property to arrive at a single worst-case baseline number. That specific gallons per day figure dictates the minimum flow rate your pump must deliver. It acts as the mathematical foundation for every hardware decision you make from here on out. Step 2 is calculating total dynamic head, or TDH. This determines the exact physical pressure resistance the pump must overcome to move the water. This schematic shows the first half of the TDH equation, vertical elevation head. We measure strictly from the dynamic water level inside the well, straight up to the physical inlet of the storage tank. Elevation head is the physical fight against gravity over that vertical distance. But the second half of the equation is where people fail, friction loss. As water moves horizontally through pipes, elbows, and valves, it scrapes against the walls, creating an invisible penalty. Your pipe diameter, the total pipe length, and your water flow rate dynamically interact. Notice what happens as the diameter of the pipe shrinks. The friction resistance spikes exponentially. A lot of first-time builders try to minimize their pipe diameter to save on upfront PVC material costs. This drastically spikes the total friction loss and chokes the system. To find your number, you simply add them together. Elevation head plus friction loss equals your total dynamic head. If you skip calculating a precise TDH, you will end up buying a pump that completely lacks the physical torque required to push water to your surface tank. Now that we have the math, step 3 is selecting the internal motor technology capable of hitting that TDH and flow rate using strictly solar power. Standard AC grid-style motors require an expensive, efficiency-draining inverter to translate the solar panel's direct current. DC motors, however, connect directly to the panels without that conversion loss. This matrix grades AC, brushed, and brushless options across efficiency and maintenance. Brushless DC and permanent magnet synchronous motors went out here. They offer a 15 to 20% boost in energy efficiency and completely eliminate physical brush wear, meaning they require virtually zero maintenance. Step 4 is determining the physical placement of the pump itself, surface versus submersible. A surface pump sits above ground. It is incredibly easy to access for repairs, but it is strictly bound by atmospheric physics. A surface pump cannot pull water from deeper than approximately 25 feet. A submersible pump is placed at the bottom of the well. Instead of pulling, it pushes the water up, bypassing atmospheric suction limits entirely. The trade-off is that pulling it back up for repairs requires heavy lifting equipment. For off-grid, deep well systems, high-efficiency brushless submersible pumps are the standard. They maximize your limited solar energy and keep impossible maintenance tasks at the bottom of the well to an absolute minimum. The final step is sizing the photovoltaic array and the control box to actually power the pump you just selected. Do not wire solar panels directly to a pump. A modern system mandates an MPPT, or maximum power point tracking, charge controller. The MPPT acts like an intelligent gearbox. When clouds roll in or the sun gets low, it actively adjusts the voltage and current to squeeze usable pumping power out of poor light conditions. As for the solar panels themselves, the core engineering rule is that your array must be oversized by 30 to 40%. This raw capacity compensates for short winter days, wire resistance, and general system losses. Looking at this itemized spec sheet, you can see the real financial breakdown for the submersible pump, the solar modules, and the dedicated DC controller. Investing in an advanced MPPT controller and aggressively oversizing your panel array requires higher upfront capital, but it directly reduces the risk of total water loss during adverse weather, which validates the cost. Your daily water need dictates the flow. Your physical landscape dictates the TDH. Together, those numbers dictate the motor size and the panel array. This quadrant graph maps how these variables translate to actual user profiles and hardware purchases. The off-grid homesteader falls in the upper left quadrant. They are pulling from a deep well, but their daily household and livestock volume requirements are relatively low. Their specific strategy is to invest in a high-head submersible pump and a massive holding tank. They pump water slowly all day while the sun is up, stockpiling it to use gravity feed pressure at night. The commercial irrigator sits in the lower right quadrant. They pull from shallow surface water sources, but require massive agricultural volume. Their strategy is to accept massive initial capital costs for oversized PV arrays and to strictly mandate wide pipe diameters to prevent high flow rates from causing devastating friction loss. The physics of moving water do not care about estimates. Measure your TDH, deploy brushless technology, and engineer your system precisely so the sun does the heavy lifting.